6 News.
58-37.
We now join this program in progress.
Fourth quarter with Dallas up by 20 again. Then made 2 free throws, then hit the shot that put the Mavs over 100 points. That guaranteed each fan a free chalupa. How about that? Mavs went on to win it 108-94.
When you participate in the March of Dimes Walk America, you really are a hero. Because you're helping to give babies who are premature a fighting chance. Unready to meet the world, many of these babies have to struggle just to survive. But they're not alone, because the March of Dimes is there to help them win their fight. And you can help too. So join Walk America and remember, you're a hero when you walk to save babies.
Breast cancer doesn't just affect women. This year, over 40,000 women will die. The Breast Cancer Research Foundation has given over $20 million in research grants. Please, help us make a difference. Call now, 1-866-FIND-A-CURE.
Over 3 million Americans stutter, and more than half of these are children. If you, your child, or someone you care about stutters, let us help you. For over 50 years, the nonprofit Stuttering Foundation has been helping those who stutter. For more information and resources on stuttering, call the Stuttering Foundation toll-free at 1-800-992-9392. That's 1-800-992-9392. Or visit our website at www.stutteringhelp.org.
Imagine yourself serving in today's Peace Corps.
I wanted adventure. I wanted to go out, learn about a new culture, learn a new language, and bring it back to the United States.
I joined the Peace Corps because I think Peace Corps as a development organization is one of the best in the world.
You're helping people, you're working in the community, and people really appreciate you so much for every little bitty thing that you do.
It's fun.
Make a difference. Join the Peace Corps. It's the toughest job you'll ever love.
It's Friday morning, Survivor fans. Time for a recap. There was hype. There was drama. Yes, it was all there. Everything but food. After eating all their rice, the survivors bid Australian cash for food, while even paying $320 for a cheeseburger, just like in New York. The survivors were also forced to decide between getting another batch of rice or keeping their shelters. They went for the food. But one didn't have to worry about getting wet because he was voted out of the tribe.
Need to bring me a torch.
That's quite tough, huh?
Hang in there.
Yep, so long, Nick. He was too weak for work and actually confessed to his fellow castaways that he was about ready to quit anyway. So they did him a favor.
Nick, the tribe has spoken.
Someone who knows all about how it feels to be a hungry survivor is Susan Hawk. She was one of last season's final 4, remember, the truck driver? And once again, she joined Manuel Gallegos to check out the Outback.
Sporting a new hair color and cut, Susan Hawk, Survivor's most outspoken castaway, watched with us as the remaining players finally look like they're suffering.
You know, now the game is finally maybe getting real for them. Up until now, they've been kind of pampered a little bit, given a lot of extra foods that we didn't have.
This is how much rice we have left.
For the first time, the team really looks thin.
Just close to a six-pack of it.
That's what they get for going on those diets ahead of time. Unless you're like a POW or a homeless, and you would never, ever experience the way they feel right now.
Sold the Keith for $180. Take a bite.
But then they got food, even a hamburger. But they paid the price because just a little food makes you sick when you're not used to it.
Good.
It sends your body into shock. It tastes so good when you bite into it, but then like 20 minutes later, you're like so sick.
Susan also thinks the remaining personalities are a little dull, especially now that Jerry is gone.
They're just kind of like water, you know? They just kind of flow along.
Susan wants Tina off.
Quit smiling, Tina. I don't like you either.
And Colby, too.
You know, I'm hoping we're heading for a big surprise, because I really wanted to see Two-Face Colby gone this week. All the women would be disappointed on that, but...
But this time, it was Nick.
Nick, need to bring me a torch.
Susan thinks this contest will come down to two women, Amber and Elizabeth. Manuel Gallegos, CBS News, Hollywood.
And we'll bring the latest survivor voted out of the tribe to you next week. This is CBS News, Up to the Minute.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Good morning. This is CBS News Up to the Minute for Friday morning, April 6th. I'm Ed Crane. It's been almost a week since the crew of a U.S. spy plane made an emergency landing in southern China. And still no word on when the crew and their plane will be coming home. Chinese officials agreed to allow a second meeting between American diplomats and the plane's 24-member crew at 4 a.m. Eastern Time. China's president is again calling for a U.S. apology, but all President Bush will offer were his regrets.
I regret that a Chinese pilot is missing, and I regret one of their airplanes is lost. And our prayers go out to the pilot, his family.
That conciliatory statement may go a long way toward easing this diplomatic tug of war, but it was what he said earlier this week that may have made matters worse. CBS's Barry Peterson has the story.
CBS News has learned that when this crisis began, it was the intention of China's top political leaders to end it quickly. In fact, some argued for returning the plane and the crew immediately. Then things started spinning out of control. Under the scenario described to CBS News, the Chinese military stepped in with its own agenda, insisting on a 40-hour delay, time to search the plane and extract any high-tech secrets still left intact. By Tuesday night, the military would be willing to give up the people and the plane. But on Monday, President Bush spoke out, demanding the Americans be free.
Our priorities are the prompt and safe return of the crew and the return of the aircraft without further damaging or tampering.
Sources say strong words from the U.S. president stunned China's president, Jiang Zemin, forcing him to up the ante. His demand, a full apology.
The U.S. side should admit its mistakes and apologize to the Chinese people.
In a further escalation, the Chinese now say they may interrogate the crew.
It is justifiable for competent personnel to question the crew.
This public hard line, say sources here, makes it more difficult to find a way out. And if the crisis drags on, if, for instance, it results in the United States selling the advanced Aegis radar system to Taiwan, the province China claims, then the situation will go beyond what diplomacy can fix. Kenneth Lieberthal is the former National Security Council expert on Asia.
On the Chinese side, they may say if you sell the Aegis radar system to Taiwan, these pilots or these crew members that we have are going to have grandchildren before we hand them back.
The sense here is that China's leaders feel trapped. They've demanded an apology from Washington that Washington will not supply over an incident that no one here thought would get this far out of hand. And no one on this side seems to know the way out. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Beijing.
For the families and friends of those detained in China, this is another anxious morning, but along with the anxiety, there's an even stronger sense of pride. CBS's Jerry Bowen reports.
In the southeast corner of South Dakota, people in tiny Parkston were tying yellow ribbons to anything that didn't move, antennas to air conditioners.
Tie them above the flag thing so they don't fall down.
Parkston is where Lieutenant Shane Osborne spent time as a boy, and here he's considered a hero, the pilot who landed the crippled spy plane safely. His aunt, Marcia Lee's been spreading the news.
He's a hell of a pilot to be able to land that plane. It had two engines out, the nose was off, the wing was damaged, and they had no wing flap. He dropped 88,000 feet immediately. How in the hell he landed it, nobody knows.
When Osborne and the others left their home base at Whidbey Island, Washington last month,
We love them and care for them.
it was considered the start of another routine mission. Nothing's considered routine now, especially back in Parkston.
All I could do was cry and just worry.
And now the word that somewhere on faraway Hainan Island, China, that Osborne is being held separately from the rest of the crew. Unsettling news to his grandmother, Betty Reich.
I really know he can survive. I don't know what they'll do to him. I worry about that, but he's a survivor.
And he's on the minds of a lot of folks.
Sitting up and you're watching TV all the time and just waiting and waiting and waiting and you're going stir crazy. This might not be much, but at least we feel like we're doing something. I think Shane would be proud of us.
In tiny Parkston, South Dakota, a feeling that's mutual. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Japan is preparing to name a new prime minister after Yoshiro Mori announced his resignation. Mori told his cabinet Friday he's stepping down, ending one of the most unpopular governments since the end of World War II. Mori took office when Keizo Obuchi died last spring. The apparent frontrunner to succeed Mori is the former Prime Minister Ryutaro Hashimoto. The Senate votes on President Bush's budget proposal today. That budget is expected to pass, but without his full $1.6 trillion in tax cuts. Republicans were able to boost the reduced tax cut to about $1.2 trillion in votes yesterday. Senate Republicans and the president called on Democrats to pass it. For months, CBS News has been investigating fatal crashes and other problems with the U.S. military's tilt-rotor Osprey aircraft. Now the military's weighed in with some disturbing findings of its own. CBS aviation correspondent Bob Orr has more.
It's another black eye for the V-22 Osprey, the Marines' controversial aircraft designed to lift off like a helicopter and fly like an airplane. Investigators looking into this December crash concluded the pilots never had a chance after their Osprey suffered a hydraulic failure compounded by a computer glitch.
The air crew reacted immediately and correctly to the in-flight emergency, as they were trained to do. We consider them to be without fault.
The crash, one of two last year that killed 23 Marines, grounded the Osprey fleet and put the future of the $40 billion program in doubt.